إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا فعلمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا كريم. So inshallah tonight we're going to have an important talk on Luqman. To begin, I'd like Jahil to recite a few verses from the Holy Quran.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد.
Jazakumullah khairan for that recitation of Surah Fajr. And Surah Fajr, it is the 89th Surah of the Quran. And he started off with هل في ذلك قسم لذي هجر. There are indeed in these signs sufficient proofs for those that possess intellects. Now, where's the word intellect in this verse? You'll notice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says hal, and hal is the beginning of a question. في ذلك, in that. قسم is an oath, لذي hijr, for those individuals that possess hijr. Hijr, traditionally, it means rock. So it means like a big boulder. But one of the ways that the term hijr is also used is to refer to one's intellect, and particularly when one uses his intellect to distinguish between good and evil. So an individual that distinguishes between good and evil is known as Dhul Hijr. Why is he known as Dhul Hijr? Because he has put a boulder, he's put a big rock between himself and that disobedience between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or that transgressions against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why he is known as the possessor of intellect. So let us go through these oaths again and find out what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually taking an oath about. So the first thing was Al-Fajr, the morning that comes about. Number two, there are the 10 nights. And then the third thing is the even and the odd days and nights. And then the fourth thing is the night as it departs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left it ambiguous so that each individual will reflect upon these signs and come up with their own answers. And that is why there's no clearly incorrect answer to this. But particularly these signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it shows how insignificant as a creation we really are. When you live on this earth, you're surrounded by other human beings. The greatest fluctuation you'll see is maybe someone's a foot taller than you or 2 feet taller than you. Maybe you'll see like 100-story building and you're like, wow, this building is huge. But what you fail to realize is that if you just take the sun, you could fit 1,000 earths inside the sun. And this is one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this great creation in the sky. That because we live in the city, because we don't take the time to explore, we're completely oblivious to the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When was the last time we reflected that when you go to sleep at night, this is actually a reminder that you'll one day stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are all signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if you are truly people of intellect, you will use your intellect to reflect on the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to stay away from the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, what is the consequence if you don't do that? What if you don't reflect on the signs? What if you don't put a barrier between yourself and that disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he continues, he says, أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِعَادٍ. That did you not see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did with the people of Ad? Now, who's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressing here? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over here is addressing the people of the Quraysh. And one of the things that the Quraysh recognized, there were two things. One was the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the Rabb. They used to refer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as their Rabb. What they refused to do was to accept Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the one and only Ilah. So if you ask them who you would worship, who created you, they would all say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the language, did you not see what your Lord did with the people of Ad? The second thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using something that the Quraysh were already familiar with. So when the Quraysh used to travel through the land for their various business transactions, they would come across the remnants of Ad, which they say is from the people of Yemen. So when they would travel to Yemen, they would see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did with these people. You know what their creation was like, and you'll be petrified. They're like, these people were much stronger than us, they were much taller than us, and look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding them, did you not see what your Lord did with the people of Ad? Now, from a historical perspective, Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he actually mentioned that the people of Ad, they came 4 generations after Nuh alayhi salam. Next verse, Iram Dhat al-Imad, the people of Iram with their great stature. The term Iram over here is actually a word that the scholars of tafsir differed about. What does the term Iram actually mean? They know it's a proper name, it's a noun, but they differ over what it is exactly a name of. So some people said this was the name of the leader of Thamud, the tribe of Thamud. The person who founded that tribe was Iram. And then the second opinion is that no, this is not the case. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is rather referring to a tribe from amongst the tribe of Thamud, known as Iram. And what was their characteristic? That they were the ones that built lofty pillars. And then what were these pillars like? The likes of which you would not see in any of the other lands. And a good point to reflect on over here is in verse number 8. التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد, unmatched in any other land. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the term bilad, which is when it has a defined boundary, it is guarded. That is when it becomes known as bilad, and the plural of bilad is balad. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did with the people of Ad, that even though they had their fortified boundaries around it, they were unable to defend themselves against the punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set. And I'd like to conclude by stating that this short reminder goes for me, and then it is a reminder for all those who are listening, as reminding each other is very necessary. As Allah says in Surah Dariyat, chapter number 51, verse number 55, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind the believers even if they had heard before. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to take lessons from this surah, and may Allah grant us all Jannatul Firdaus.